There we go. Bam. YouTube, what is going on? We're back with another reaction video because I'm still recovering. I'm gonna fucking sling boys. YouTube, say hi. Twitch, say hi back. Let's get into this. So this game isn't for you a Hoyoverse theory. I really wanted to watch this because the title is, I'm just not gonna lie, it's very intriguing. I'm very excited to see what this is talking about and how, yeah. So let's see. I think we covered a lot of good things in the Gotcha Cast. Go check that out. And I feel like part of the reason that I think the Hoyoverse games is not for me is I just feel like they're not fucking innovating. They continuously innovate on the new title, and I don't think they go back to the old one to really bring things up that much. But let's see what happens.
Hello,
let's get into
ladies
it. Bam.
and gentlemen.
Also, shout out Nick,
Today,
please.
Let's talk about not only Honkai Star Rail, but Hoyoverse themselves. Now, this is an idea that's been brewing for a long time due to the discourse between Hoyoverse's 3 games, and I finally decided to go into detail about it to present a theory to you. A theory that Hoyo deliberately designs good and bad
I've played these
aspects of their
games before.
And either which way, they will somehow find a way to benefit from it in the future. As someone that clears endgame consistently on all 3 of the big Hoyo games, I think I have some position
no,
of
appreciate
value
you.
to
Thank you.
listen
Thank
to.
you.
This is gonna take a long time to explain, so without further ado, let's buckle up and get into this.
Bro, it's gonna take a long time to
What is this
react.
Hoyoverse theory?
Oh, I have my headset on the wrong way.
To start, let's get to the first point of evidence of this theory. In a GameSpot interview even
No worries,
before
James,
the
I
release of
appreciate
Honkai
you.
Star Rail, Genshin Impact devs answered some questions in which this infamous line was given that became a meme among endgame players.
Bro, this was the day that in my mind I kind of knew that Genshin wasn't gonna be the end all be all for me. I remember this and coping so fucking hard for there to be more in game than this happened. I will never forget this article. I swear to God, on everything, the day I lost hope. No, legitimately, gamers. MTash here, and this changed, like, this fucking changed everything for me. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Quote, the
Really
Spiral
did.
Abyss is one of the most effective ways for players to test out their party compositions and combat strength. If we
brother.
design another type of permanent endgame that is similar to the Spiral
20 times
Abyss,
more
it
damage.
might end up creating excessive anxiety.
Oh no,
for our
anxiety!
players.
Yo,
Not
Snowman, what's going
everyone
on,
is
brother? I appreciate the follow, man. Thank you. Dap me up. It's been a great day. Welcome in. I got out before this update, so I'm lucky. Dude, I actually, like, the whole thought process of creating more endgame equals more anxiety for people is so fucking stupid. I think it's so dumb. It's just not true. It's not. Especially if you don't make the rewards 100% based around, like, primo gems and shit like that. There's no anxiety tied to it. It's just stupid.
interested in Musk Reed.
But it's whatever.
Yes, this could be considered one of the root origins of
It is what it is. Oh, for
eventually
sure.
transformed into Genshin could never. There was a severe drought in the community of meta players that wanted Floor 13. Harder content.
Wait, yo, I gotta pull up Scotty's chat. Yo, bro said, "Oh my god, I'm getting anxiety at the thought of being able to use my build units more." Oh no. Oh, great heavens. Mind you, HSR does a really good job of endgame. I'll give them that. They have like a million fucking endgame mode, but there's no anxiety there. I guess I'm right. Yo, what's good, Sidges? How you feeling? A lot of love with this. Oh, 100%. But yo, that's it. I'm gonna pin that. I gotta pin that, Scotty. Fuck me, bruv. Okay. Gotta pin that.
And more
right,
endgame
bam.
modes that they were not happy with this and laughed them out for it. Seriously, you can look at some forum or Twitter time capsules around this time and
No,
you
I think
would
she's
be
awake
shocked
now.
at what you see
I
there
think she's
if you're
awake.
living in the current times of meta discourse. The rest of the interview won't be relevant for this video, but I do suggest you read it because it gives some really good insight on the psychology of Genshin Impact developers, especially their stance about power creep, which we will mention later. The fact of the matter is the Genshin devs have made their decision on what type of game Genshin Impact would be. It is not a game for endgame players looking to min-max a lot of damage with their combat system. They outright say that Genshin Impact is
I feel like we've said something very similar before. I kind of see how this video is going to go. Guys, I think Hoyoverse is making like a universe of gacha games. I think they're going to take over every single subgenre. So that way, if one game doesn't fit your needs, you go to the next one. If that doesn't fit it, you go on, etc., etc., etc. I think it just gets tiring to the player, though. I think it gets 100% tiring to the player of having the need to go on to a different game to get something that should just functionally be in the video game, like in your other games. You know what I'm saying? Like that, it just causes fatigue and shit. So I definitely, I think I have a very good idea where this video is going already.
is a chill variety game. They want to create gameplay in the future that doesn't necessarily need combat like TCG. I don't have the statistics of Genshin's player retention, and I don't trust Hoyoverse to be moral in their decisions at all, but I can't trust
sure,
Hoyo
Roy.
to not
For
be
sure.
stupid about their money to make decisions like this without being based on factual data. And the fact of the matter is that Genshin is their golden goose, and making it as accessible as possible and as relaxed as possible is the best way to get money based on whatever data they have. In most gacha communities, and especially Genshin, who has a certain appeal to a large audience, meta players are a loud minority, which was not a surprising result to see the devs.
No, MC, I understand that the article is 2 years old, but that article is still prevalent to this day to Genshin, and also the fact that they literally take the complete ideology that they're talking about and twist it and use it for HSR. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, that article is 2 years old, but it still applies to Genshin, and it doesn't apply to Star Rail, and they use different type of ideologies for each game. I think that's probably the basis of this video. You know what I'm saying? This is like Genshin to get characters to finish the story. I actually enjoy one, maybe HSR not so much anymore. HSR, I think, is still a game that, I don't know. I think HSR could still be very, 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 very positive and very good. I just think it's the fact that, like, to me, it just has fallen off pretty hard. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Imagine using anxiety as an excuse for no endgame in a game where you have to consistently think of what day it is to farm talents. Yeah. Also, like, what's the point of, like, C6ing and all this other bullshit? Like, there's no real test. There's no nothing. I mean, the rumor is like they're making some sort of sandbox mode, like a Roblox type thing where people can create their own endgame, but that'll probably have a fuck ton of restrictions and dog shit mechanics to it too, right? Like, so we'll see what happens. But yeah,
Rejecting the idea of more endgame. I'm saying some pretty obvious stuff that was said even 2 years before that people have already said. But let's get to speculation now. How does this connect to Honkai Star Rail?
Because they do the exact
Genshin
opposite.
Is a casual-friendly game that doesn't focus on its combat and damage numbers, they aren't universally appealing. Even if those players are a smaller audience, these players that optimize damage numbers and
legit,
combat
Scotty.
still
Legit.
provide money. They put their money on games that have a focus on a combat system, an evolving meta, multiple game modes, and endgame that actually matters. The amount of people that would buy something just to flex a really high score on an endgame that's typically difficult for a free-to-play is a fertile audience to design your game around and let them pay money to you. Sounds familiar? Once the Genshin devs realized that they were going to miss out on money from this audience of combat-focused gacha with an active endgame, Hoyoverse decided to create their own competition and directed the devs of Honkai Star Rail to catch the audience that they were missing out on Genshin.
Bro,
this was a form of a joke
cooking.
back when HSR released. People were kidding around about how Genshin doesn't implement qualities of life to implement it onto their next game to sell it to the people. Turns out this was not only correct, but the scale of it is much larger than what could have been imagined. If Genshin
Yo, what's good,
is
Fat?
a
How you feeling, brother? Welcome in,
casual-friendly
welcome
game
in,
that has
man.
a lot of variety outside combat in which you could enjoy yourself like
I appreciate you welcoming. I honestly feel like every generation of a Hoyoverse game is used as a tester for the next to see what the limits of companies really hold each game to a standard, which is clearly shown over time. Well, yeah, I mean, I just brought it up in the podcast, right? Like, if you look at the storytelling perspective, Genshin Impact started with Traveler, and none of the other characters mattered, right? Realistically, once you're done with the region, that's it. Then on HSR, people are like, we want some characters to actually mean something. So they have the Astral Express, which I think is fucking brilliant, because it feels like even though you're going to a different region and maybe let's say Don Hung doesn't go with you here, but everyone else goes here, like character swap in and out, it's actually really smart and it gives you an emotional attachment to these characters. But then the actual act of storytelling is shitty. And then when you get to ZZZ, you have a similar thing. It's a cast of characters where they all matter. You feel some type of way about them. You're connected to them, but the storytelling is even better. So they continuously improve, but they don't go back to the other ones and really fix. You know, they might give some quality of life here and there, but fucking, like, in terms of the core mechanics of the game, they never go back to fix. It was the new made, I think Imaginarium Theater, I think the Imaginarium Theater was the new made. They were hinting back then, but it's hard to argue with their logic when everything's harder abyss. People lose their minds about it being some kind of character check. Well, character check isn't harder content, right? I get the point of the video is making, but I think the players kind of prove Hoyo's point sometimes without realizing it. I can maybe see your sentiment in the sense like people are complaining about like power creep and HSR. Also was good, Tenchi. How you feeling, brother? I got you 2 seconds. Maybe like, oh, like anxiety, like the meta's moving too fast in HSR, but I think there's a fine balance. I think there's a way you can create compelling endgame as well as not make the players feel like there's a substantial amount of FOMO and their accounts and their time and their money don't feel wasted. I really think it's it's 100% a middle ground, and I think they probably know the middle ground, and they're just not doing it because why do that when you could just make a fuck ton of money? You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Also, I'm chilling, brother. After this, we're probably gonna dip out to go relax. I might record the Arcanite's Enfield video actually on stream real quick. DZ did it really well with the Deadly Soul. Oh, 100% fan, 100% without a doubt. And also, I appreciate you, brother. Damn yeah, man. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Thank you again, Fed. Yeah, DZZ did a good job, and that's what I'm saying. It's like, why do they do these great things and then they don't go back to fix shit? I don't know. I will never know. I feel like they had a special armament to older characters. Something, I don't know. Endgame content wait, endgame does not have to have synonymous with power creep. That's the developers. 100%, exactly. Yep.
TCG and Teapot, Star Rail is more tuned to the hardcore audience because there's almost no other form of long-term gameplay outside of combat. Endgame is a revolving door every few weeks that incentivizes even more FOMO since it's practically the only thing you could do after the minimal things you could do outside of combat. It's hard to ignore that red exclamation mark when you don't really have 6-hour exploration quests or a TCG that you can PvP with other players to waste your time. Star Rail throughout 2 years has now shown more and more of this side and continues to define what its intended audience is. It's not for people who wish characters would last forever like in Genshin. It's not for people who want to be strict casuals unless they have restraint or are too busy to deal with it. It is a game that has power creep, a constantly evolving meta that rapidly develops around a combat system which doesn't have many alternatives to enjoy the game. Compare this to Genshin and what is referred to in the interview they gave. Quote, if a character is only assessed by a single dimension of numerical strength, power creep could indeed be an issue. However, in Genshin Impact, the rules of gameplay are more impactful than how strong a character is. The rules is specifically talking about the reaction system, which can carry worse characters numerically just because they are of a specific element that can enable a reaction. Star Rail's closest comparison mechanic is Super Break, and that's stretching it. We still do have one game to go from the big three, which is the newcomer, ZZZ. Zenless.
Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. I think this dude is absolutely fucking cooking right now. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Zone Zero, so far from my meta perspective, is too early to judge.
Is that a leak?
You can already see signs of it being much like Star Rail in its power creep, as evidenced by Bellabog Industries' Sans Anton getting power crept in version 1.x. Legitimately, they just kept releasing better characters that replaced them. But
let's go,
it's growing pains, and
damn it, brother, I appreciate you.
And start power creep.
How we feeling?
Limited characters. The exploration really doesn't exist, and it's mostly a low maintenance game and is not as expensive in development and maintenance as Genshin, but definitely more expensive than Star Rail in development costs. What really could ZZZ be competing for with the
Fed, I appreciate the follow, brother. Thank you, man. Welcome in. How are you? I appreciate you. I appreciate you, dog.
Games. Unlike Star Rail and Genshin, there's one thing ZZZ has. It's pure, unadulterated, blatant character design bait. The character designs for ZZZ are absolutely insane.
The top part muscles right there, yeah.
Existing in any one of those games.
I feel like I'm like one of the only people who I understand people being very cautious about ZZZ's power creep. I guess I'm gonna drop the video. Let me see if I exported the video, but I never uploaded it. I don't think ZZZ's power creep is as big as a problem as people are making it seem personally. Like, am I the only one who feels this way? Am I the only one who thinks that Miyabi is like just to get people playing again and like the power level is gonna go back down? I don't know. You know, yo, Genozod, I appreciate the fuck out of you, brother. It was definitely a pleasure meeting you, man. Dap me up, brother. Can we get a fat shout out for Genozod? Thank you, bro. Good takes. Great conversation. Only time will tell, for sure. I mean, I 100% understand being skeptical about it. Jen, are you still streaming? Because I'm finna raid someone in like fucking 10 minutes. But if not, no, fuck, okay. But I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, man. It was definitely a pleasure. I think Miyabi opens the floodgates. Oh, for sure. Like, I understand the skepticism because Hoyoverse doesn't have the greatest track record, without a doubt. But I also am not going, like, I just think she was a massive spike to be like, come back and play the game, you know? But we'll see. Jen has been up forever by now. Bro streams like fucking 12 hours. Bro, I wake up for work, man. It's still streaming. But he's more casual. I don't know. I think this guy's cooking, though. I really do. I think they will just, I think they really just want the character to really bring back people. Exactly, Scotty. That's what I think. But again, everyone go follow Genozon if you don't beat the fucking shit out of you, GOAT. But if they, you know, it could go bad. It definitely could. But we'll see what happens, right? Astra also dropping. I'm pretty skeptical because of her loaded kit. I guess we'll find out. Hot take, it's easier. Here, hold on, let me pull this up. I've been enjoying it. I hope the devs don't screw the pooch. ZZZ's fun, man. It's actually not bad. Hot take, it is easier to make endgame for turn-based games because all they need to do is give the enemy more HP, higher attack. Well, Tenchi, I feel like this is the problem, though. I actually think that they're just giving them more HP and higher attack, and it's like it makes the game feel like shit, and that's insinuating more power creep and more FOMO. I think there's 100% ways to make more endgame in HSR without just inflating HP and shit and making you fight fucking trotters to do damage because you can't do damage or in Bibbidi Libbidi anymore. You know, I genuinely believe there's like, look at the Aventurine fight, bro. Like, that was really fucking cool. Now, granted, you need AoE to do that fight really well, but why can't they just make like genuine fucking mechanics for a fight? You know, I don't think HP inflation is really a good example because that is exactly what's causing frustration in the community, right? I recently got back into ZZ. The issue when you release OP characters afterwards, they would skip units because they're. I mean, that's very fair too. Miyabi is a Genshin equivalent of Acheron, to be fair, so I kind of do expect the power creep. I get what you're saying. I 100% understand that, but I also don't think like tying power to lore sometimes I think could just be a little rough because sometimes also like lore doesn't matter. Like look at the Traveler. Like the Traveler's fucking dog shit. Like all versions of the Traveler are fucking horrendous, right? So yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. Like it made sense for her to be fucking cracked without a doubt. You know, 100%. I just think like it gets a little weird, you know. The problem is the inability to introduce new enemy mechanics between major update. If there's no new enemies, it's harder to release new mechanics. They resort to HP bloat. It is what it is. I think it just sucks, man. I think it absolutely fucking sucks. I think there's ways to do it. Again, like I said previously, and Genazad said it before, it's like there's ways to fucking go about it while you introduce mechanics and fix things, right? Personal favorite gacha game turn-based was the City of Final Fantasy. I remember that. Canceling a certain attack in a boss fight or dodging a certain move in a boss as a clear condition would be cool for these gachas. True. Here, hold on. Let's let him finish this point because we're fucking yapping like
Star
crazy.
Rail and Genshin were
it's about to be a 30-minute video again.
Body types that they limited themselves with, they simply cannot do it. And trust me, people do not like that both of those games don't have enough risks in their designs, and having to be defaulted to 6 types of characters essentially is quite boring. ZZZ's mere existence of Ben Bigger and Billy Kid is enough to separate itself, and once again, Hoyo has made their own competition to fill that missing void. But I can also believe that ZZZ is simply just a comfort game for the devs to finally release whatever hell of a design that they have saved up that they couldn't use for Genshin and Star Rail. Whatever barely discussed.
I'm telling you, my question is that why can't they just fucking use it for Genshin and Star Rail? Like, why can't they go back and change things and fix things and add more enticing content? It feels fucking lazy. That's why I have a problem with HSR. That's why I have a problem with Genshin. I think ZZZ does a great fucking job. I mean, I think their next game is going to be like an Animal Crossing game, so obviously that's going to be completely fucking different, right? But like when they release another like gacha game that's like combat oriented and shit, it's like probably because most of the game is copy paste coding, maybe BG, but you know they also have fucking billions of dollars. I just think I feel like it's just not an excuse, you know? I know you're not defending it. Also, welcome in, man. They too scared. They're going to go the safe route, but it's again, they go the safe route just because of the fact that they make money. That's why ZZZ had to pivot, because they didn't fucking make money, right? I think it's even so simple. It just buffs every old unit. So many things. I think Genshin is going into the same realm as HS3. They're milking the IPs to death. Well, I think Genshin is the most outdated out of like the new gen gachas, I would call it. I think it is 1000%. An outlier. It doesn't feel good. It's pretty shitty now, right? But yeah.
Guys' fantasies they have, I'm not judging, but I just could see it happening. In theory, people realizing Star Rail is greedy, ZZZ is design bait, and Genshin is for babies should hurt Hoyoverse. But because they're selling their own competition, if you don't agree with all of these 3 takes, then Hoyoverse really doesn't lose anything from you. If you ever think to yourself while playing one of these games that this game is not for you, that's fine. Not for you, of course, but for Hoyoverse. Each game Hoyo makes is made to catch an audience that wasn't captured from the last. You get into Genshin because it's popular. Don't like the stale endgame? Switch to HSR. Do you think HSR and Genshin's character design sucks? Go to ZZZ. If you don't like endgame being stingy in ZZZ or HSR, then try again with Genshin and you'd appreciate more after playing those 2 games. They will do their best and get every audience someday. That's their plan. By casting a larger net, they can gain more money, instead of banking on one title being a massive success and focus all the resources onto it. I suggest people start bringing this up every time there's an HSR versus Genshin discourse. Hoyoverse is only profiting from your war on both sides, and that's why you should all stop immediately fighting each other when the root cause is Hoyoverse when you're trying to be an activist about something, like
Wow.
politics or anything like that.
Oh my god,
With all
someone
of
else
that
said
said,
it.
let's get into some hot takes. If Genshin is the golden goose of Hoyoverse, then I believe that Honkai Star Rail is the cash cow. Why do I say this when Genshin makes more money and has a wider audience? Here's the deal. As much as Genshin makes money, it has a much higher operational and development cost than Star Rail could ever have. Just look at the genre itself. Star Rail has no worries for climbing, collision, terrain, and balancing stuff like frame
it's a lot
data,
easier to make characters
hitboxes,
and shit.
ICD, and all that other stuff that Genshin
I got you all in 2
constantly has
seconds.
to
In
keep
2 seconds,
checking
boys.
for glitches so their game doesn't explode. With the size of Teyvat, it's almost wizard-like how they optimized it as much as they could. On top of that, Star Rail does not have the combat co-op that Genshin has 24/7, which has to be insane in server costs. Meanwhile, Star Rail is a glorified spreadsheet that looks very pretty with a mostly static environment. And with how rapid the meta develops and how much money a casual needs to ease through endgame without effort, people now realize the reality of this. Star Rail is a cheaper game with a much more predatory design to grab your money through the meta than Genshin ever would
I
be.
love
The
you.
inflation of pulls was a subtle
you.
indicator that you need more pulls in Star Rail to keep up with that meta than you would with Genshin. They practically have to do it as a balancing method.
I've said it a million times with the stock market, the Jades are the lowest, and like Primo Gems, all the other currencies are higher than Jades. But I fucking love you. You're hilarious. Dead ass. Yeah, Genshin has highest revenue, but what's profit? HSR is full of black screen cutscenes for sure. Server costs are really that much larger than open world. It's not about server costs. It's just about debugging everything, right? Hoyoverse clearly doesn't care about any of their players. Being a pioneer of the verse doesn't even treat players like shit. I agree with you for sure. And yet they have not kept up the cadence. How many events have we had where it's trash can Pokemon Snap or hiding into mints of to a sample? Yeah, or handing mints a sample. I know. I agree with you. I fucking agree, man. The reason why they're so effective and so smart is because, again, they're encapsulating different audiences in the gacha sphere that aren't really being, like, let's just be honest, it's a fucking juggernaut. They're the biggest fucking gacha company, and they probably will always be the biggest gacha company. They're a monopoly, but they're really monopolizing the space, and they're selling things to kids, and it's fucking predatory. All gacha games are predatory. It's not just obviously Hoyoverse, but they're creating specific niches and create problems in other games, but the solution to that problem is in this other game. So since if you like Hoyoverse or you like some of the characters and stuff, you go to the other game to play it, and you wind up spending more money because you still like the other ones. It's fucking genius. It is fucking genius. It's horrible for the consumers, but it makes perfect sense, like from a business standpoint, 1000%.
Genshin is the golden goose. It brings most of their
Yeah,
player
the
base,
recent
and
Abyss is
because of
trash.
that, they
Recent
can't
Abyss is
take any
trash.
risks and have to be as safe as possible to keep it going. Star
Snoo, I don't think they're terrified of anything. You want me to be honest with you? I get what you're saying. I don't think they're terrified of Enfield or Wua at all. I just think that I really don't think they care. I think they're only terrified of not making money on their own videos. I mean, on their own games. That's it, right? I don't think I don't think they're shaking in their boots because of Wua. I mean, I definitely think they see the success. Like, all right, maybe we should pivot some things. But yeah, I don't think they're like nervous or afraid or anything like that at all. I hope another gacha game pops off because it would be good for the space. And like, imagine Ananta being a fucking massive hit. I don't think we'll ever hit Genshin COVID numbers, but Ananta or Azure Premilia could be fucking insane and really set a new standard, similarly to the way 2.0 and Wua has set. I would prefer a non-Hoyo gacha to blow up and pull a typical. Exactly. Yeah, Wolfie, 100%. I will agree with the tech tone heavily on the Genshin was the genesis of all the designs and most of the game's iterations of the Genshin systems. BG, the crazy part is I've been saying that for the past about 2 months when we've been talking about this, and I'm like, hey, like, Genshin sets the industry standard. Hoyoverse sets the industry standard. Everyone tells me I'm a fucking idiot. So it's nice to know that other people think the same because everyone's like, you're just fucking stupid. It's like, all right, I guess. Sure, I'm the problem. Yeah, it's me.
Star Rail is a cash cow that's dirt cheap in comparison and brings the same amount of money through a more tried and true method that's worked for decades now. Predatory endgame. Do they need to do this? Probably not, but we can see it's damn sure working. There's been a bit of notion now since Star Rail's endgame is predatory that people are starting to praise Genshin. Honestly, it makes me giggle. While I've spent most of this video ragging on Star Rail, I just put it out there that Genshin isn't excluded from criticism either. As much as Star Rail baits you to spending money to get broken characters after the next, Genshin demands a much more valuable resource: your time. Exploration games are much more demanding of your time, while in a turn-based game like Star Rail, you can know live content in a weekend or even auto-battle it. HSR feels like there's more pulls, well, not only because it does have more pulls, around 10 to 20 of them, but also it gives most of it up front with little interference, while Genshin needs you to work and waste your time finding 100
100%
chests,
vortex,
solving multiple puzzles.
and 100% Woma.
Genshin's
100%.
daily loop is also an example
100%.
of this. Even with the qualities of life, it takes a lot of time to pop in and spend your stamina than it is to set the phone down and auto in Star Rail. Either way, both games are stealing something important from you that you need to recognize. Do not praise Genshin like this haphazardly. Both of these games can be equally worse in their greed. It's hard to say what the future is on either of these three games, and Hoyoverse themselves likely don't know either.
I could fucking tell you they're gonna stay the same. The future is that they're gonna stay the same. They're gonna make new video games, and then after that, that's it. It's literally fucking that's it. You know, like nothing will change. Literally nothing will change. The future is the same. That's it.
Either. Genshin is very close to the end. That winding down and being more generous because of it is part of the course. Star Rail
No,
is
not
now
yet,
at the
Poggers,
point
not
where
yet.
Genshin started putting a power cap on their meta.
And 100% Woma. I always like that George Carlin quote. Think of how stupid the average person is. Realize half the people are stupider than that. 100%. Exactly.
With Dendro,
Exactly.
and ZZZ is still an infant to be judged. As consumers, you really can only hope they don't screw up because they're too big to fail or even take criticism at this point. There's rumors that apparently Hoyo is trying to do an Animal Crossing type game. We don't know any more than that, and I can't even imagine how a gacha for that would be viable for them. But if this is true, you can possibly fit this as another point of evidence. An even more chill version of Genshin that doesn't take your time and can even appeal to children. I don't think that's good morally, but sad to say, monetarily, it's a pretty good idea. I doubt endgame for an Animal Crossing type game would be really that horrible after all, unless it involves outrunning bees and mosquito catching.
I agree, Snoop.
I hope you guys like this video about why this game isn't for you and why Hoyoverse is still benefiting from that fact. I hope you guys like watching, like, comment, subscribe, do the algorithm stuff. I know that this video comes off as a little doom posty, but I want it to be more of a reality check to players that once they think of quitting, I actually recommend people should quit gacha games in general. This is not a genre that you should be holding on hope to be better. It's a very predatory genre, and any step where you feel like these games are impeding on what is enjoying for you, then you should stop immediately because you'll get sunk cost fallacy into accepting other worse stuff. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video again. But yeah, that's
W video. Everyone sub and shit. I think it was a great video. I think Homie was absolutely cooking on this. Yeah, I fucking preaching the same shit, right? YouTube, I love you. See you in the next